everybody. This review we'll be taking a look at the Skeleton Legion Builder 2 from Mythic Legions. And this guy looks pretty cool. You got the classic or normal standard Mythic Legions packaging with this clamshell. Collector friendly, of course. You can see the figure, a weapon. On the bottom on the inside you can see the little baggie that has other accessories. On this side, we got the little bio. Which is pretty cool. And then you got the back part that kind of tells you a little bit about it, which it's a very awesome reasoning behind it. And I mean, I love it. One of the main parts that when I saw it, I was thinking something, and then it was mentioned in here. It says this figure is not only an update on their first builder skeleton, but it's also a chance for them to honor the stop motion fantasy skeletons we grew up with in toy form, which I love those old fantasy movies, Jason and the Argonauts, that sort of thing, where they did the stop motions. I loved it. And so when I saw this figure, that was one of the first things that crossed my mind. It was like, man, it just threw me back to that. So these went up for sale on like an in-stock sale, and I picked up a couple there from that. But I knew I was going to be going to IshCon and that the Horsemen were going to be there, so I picked up a couple at their table there at the con. I actually picked one up on like VIP night, and then the second day I wanted to grab a couple more, and a buddy of mine wanted me to grab a couple, but I actually got there late, and then I ended up missing out on them. They all sold out. So these guys are definitely in demand. This is like a preview body of the skeletons that will be coming with the new articulation. This was just a pretty cool way to give us a preview of it, to see how far they've come. So let's get this guy open and check him out. So here is the Skeleton Legion Builder outside of the packaging with his accessories, and first impression is I think he looks amazing. I really like this figure. You have just a really good sculpt in there. You have a bunch of different accessories. You've got the different hands. You got some, I guess these hands actually, this one actually kind of looks very similar to the one that's on him. So you've got an open hand. This is going to be fun ones. You got the pointing fingers. Pretty cool. For both hands. Got another open hand. So it's just a little more, slightly more clenched. The other one was a little more open. Thinking, yeah, this one is too, just a little more open. And this one is a little more clenched. I'm thinking for his accessories, like holding the shield. So maybe a hand to better hold that. So this is the shield. Really nice bronze with like a patina to it. Have the handle for it. We've got this sword belt. His sword looks really nice. Gold handle, but weathered. And then his spear. So let's take a better look at the skeleton. I mean, that looks awesome. See all the little vertebrae and spinous process on them. The sacrum and coccyx. Really nice. You can see all the different sutures in the skull, everything. I mean, this is really nice. The jaws articulated. Now this figure, compared to when I see other bones, because there's a lot of skeleton figures out there, a lot of people making different lines with these guys, and the skeletal structure always changes depending on who's making it. I mean, this guy's upper arms. His humerus is really really thick. I can see why they did it. It definitely still pulls the job off as far as being a humerus. But I like the fact that it's a little bit thicker because I mean when you're talking about posing a figure and moving it around, I want it to be sturdy. Some of the other figures I feel like even though they look really really good, they seem a little more fragile because they're so thin. And it's really nice to not have to worry about it with this guy. But he still nails the look, which is awesome. So, so let's take a look at his articulation. So from the side, he's on a ball peg, so head could drop down that far. Head looks up very far, so that's some really awesome range of motion. His jaw does articulate, very awesome. Tilt to the side very far. I love that personality. Coming down the hallway and got the head tilted, coming at somebody. It just adds something to it. Get the upper ball. Got T-pose. As far as he's going. Not terrible. Maybe I could squeeze a little bit more. Yep. So, pretty good. Perfect T. The elbow is going to take care of the lower arm rotation. So, hinge and rotation. No, nothing at the bicep. Of course, because there's no muscle structure there. Then you got the wrist with horizontal hinges. The upper body, the upper torso is on a ball peg also. That is in there. Allows him to go forward. Let's see. Nothing too crazy. And inside there, it looks like I don't know if you can really see it. Looks like lungs, maybe some like dried out lungs in there, which is a really cool look, and it actually adds to the sturdiness of the figure. So really awesome to think that through. You've got, I mean, look at all these ribs. You've got a floating rib. That's awesome to put that in there. I think most companies probably would prefer not to. I would assume because that looks like a point of like something easy to break, but that looks really cool. And then nothing in the pelvis area as far as spine articulation. Leg goes forward very far because there's nothing there to hinder it. All the way back, of course, same reason. Goes out. Single jointed knees, but I mean, look at that range because again, there's nothing there to stop it. Really cool. Then you've got a hinge and pivot for the foot and ankle. I mean, then look at the bones in there. That's pretty cool. All your tarsals and metatarsals, like you got your carpals in there, as much as you can. The hinge kind of gets in there, but really nice articulation out of this guy. I'm really liking this dude. Of course. And maybe he's gonna throw a punch at somebody. Really cool. I like that. Really, really cool. This just seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Got a little cannonball into a pool. I mean, so many things that can be done with the skeletons could be used anywhere. So, I mean, this guy has an awesome sculpt, really good articulation. You know, everybody's going to go crazy with these. And you can just put them anywhere. That's even better. They don't have to stay in your Mythics collection. They can move into any kind of display, sorcerer display, something like that. Really cool. So again, just looking at them, we saw the sculpt and the articulation. Really nice paint. Nice washes all throughout. Little browns in here. The eyes are really dark. Kind of creepy looking in there. Kind of bothers me a little bit. I don't know what it is about them. See if I can really get in there. Like that looks creepy. Nice wash throughout all of the bones. Just really cool. Some black wash, brown. So he looks, I mean, he looks like bones. And this guy has like a lighter bone set than there's another Mythic Legions figure. I can't remember which one it. I can't remember the name of it. It comes with the robes, but you're going to be able to take those robes off, and you'll pretty much have this body underneath. But I believe the bones are just a little bit darker than this, so these are more of like a closer to white, even though it is washed in tan looking. The other ones will be just a little bit darker. But this was an awesome thing for the Horseman to do, to kind of give us a glance, kind of like Valiant Knight was, where we get to see the new articulation that the future knights were going to be coming with. And this is the same thing. So this was an awesome tribute and a way to honor those older stop motion movies, like they said in the bio, and also give us that awesome look into the future of skeletons. I know those skeleton builders are loving this. Pretty much everybody's loving this. I've been seeing a lot of pictures online so far. So really cool. So one of the cool things with this guy is, like all Mythic Legions, they have the ability to uh, pop and swap. So you can remove different parts and add new ones on there. This guy's a little stiff. I'm not going to be pulling him apart or anything like that. We're just going to take a look at him as is. Except for the head should be like real easy. Yeah, that just pops straight off. So, if you just want like a skeleton, just head just laying around somewhere, body parts, you can pop them off and separate this dude's whole body. I don't want to mess anything up. These things should be heated up just a little bit when you're gonna pop. So I'm not gonna go too crazy. But yeah, I mean, you could take this guy's arms out. You could replace it with different armor, like knights, vampire armor, different things, just to make its use even more. You can get all kinds of stuff out of this guy. But taking a look at his other accessories, he's got the different hands. I think these pointing hands are just going to be a lot of fun. Try not to break that. That's the pig. So, really cool. You got a scene in a graveyard and a dungeon, skeletons walking. I put the handle on there. It's a little tight, so I didn't go too crazy. Try to snap it all the way down. You know, you're walking around, skeleton stops, points at you. What do you do? Pretty crazy. I mean, you see a lot of stuff. See this guy like picking his nose. Let's see. Telling you to be quiet, like shh. Pretty cool. You saw nothing. You've got the again, you got the sword belt. However you want to put it on them, which is really cool. You got that sword again with this awesome detail on there. Patina and the gold and the like rusted blade on the sword. Slide that straight in the back. Or it's one of my favorite ways to carry a shield around. In mine, it just has a little bit of paint right there, so, and I haven't heated it up. I don't want to like break that little nub part off of it, so I'm just trying to be extra careful. If I warmed it up, I know there would be no problem. But there you go, handle on the back. Really doesn't even have to go through that hole. You can, there's enough space for both the sword and the shield. Pretty cool. You know, so many different options here. We've got the pointing fingers, and then we've got these different hands that are just a little bit more closed. I feel like these are more meant for the spear. I don't know, that feels a little, this seems a little too small. And I'm not going to mess that up because you have like the hands that he did come with. You have like two sets of them. Ah, okay. So these hands, they look exactly like the ones that came with them, except they have a vertical hinge, which is perfect for your sword, for your spear. So if you're doing like a little spear thrust, it's more natural for that hand to, you know, come out when you're reaching. That's perfect. That's awesome. I love that. What a great, you know, attention to that, you know, to give us that. Very awesome. He's pointing at someone, or we get his head back on. It's weird. I'm just running around with that. You know, if he's at a fight, just thrusting. Very cool. Like how awesome is that? That's one thing I do look for when I see a character with like a sword or um, a spear, something like that, where you should be able to thrust it out like that or get that motion when you're striking. I do look for that. So that is awesome that they did put that in there. Like that's really cool. I like that a lot. Let's get this shield in there. So cool. So very awesome. And then, you know, you got an army of them, quite a few of them, get a couple of them. Like, really, really cool. I do love that. That's so awesome. Let's get his sword in there. So I like that too. Really, really cool. So get that arm down, and we'll check out a little bit of a comparison. So for comparison, we'll start with the what was my favorite skeleton figure that has been made so far. The Storm Collectibles 2-pack from, I believe it was Golden Axe. This skeleton was my favorite skeleton figure so far. I really like the sculpt of it. And then I like the fact that it looks more like a skeleton, I guess, than other figures. The bones are skinnier. They still managed to give us the joint. The only thing, the downside to it was because these are such small parts, you almost feel scared to move it. Like I'm worried about wearing it out. These joints are really tiny. The back and forth on them, you're just like, how long is that gonna hold out? His spine has different joint spaces in there, so we've got one here, pretty much like where the T spine and L spine kind of connect. From the back, it hides the joint pretty good. From the front, you'll see that ball. Then you've got one down here, but they give you like some really good um, range. So you could use these guys in a lot of different poses too. I mean, that right there looks definitely like a tortured body, impaled, just kind of hanging there on something. I don't know. Looks really cool. The jaw is articulated. Got a little bit of a dry brushing on it. Not a lot. Like this Legion's one looks way more detailed. The wash, everything brought out a little bit more. This guy is starting to look a little more, I don't want to say fake to me, but a little more fake to me. Yeah, that Mythic one is really, really awesome in the look department. And it is now my new favorite skeleton figure that I have. So good. I mean, you look at the size of the humeruses. Um, sure, this is more correct, but I feel more secure with these. Plus, I mean, Mythic lives in a different universe, different world, so who's to say that's a human skeleton and not an ogre? Could be anything. But when you look at it, you say skeleton all day long. This one's pretty cool, though. It has the opening down there in the pelvis area, versus the other one is the spine goes down into it. I think that's more for support and securing it. So pretty cool. I'm really liking the new one. And here he is next to one of my favorite skeleton figures from Mythic Legions, Tibius. I really like the Tibius. The red on across the eyes is pretty crazy, but the armor really appealed to me. I don't have his weapons on him. You know, the two swords. I just really like that setup a lot. And then you got the detailing in the armor, but slightly rusted. Looks really cool. They stand almost the same height. I think the new one is actually just a tad bit taller, really, really slightly. But really cool. You can see if this one didn't have the armor across the humerus, he would look, the humerus would look just like this. He's got the cut at the mid forearm for his gauntlets, versus this one doesn't have one. So I wonder, it'd probably be kind of cool to get those arms in there into Tibius's armor. Uh, don't need to, but would look kind of cool. Have to change everything out though because Tibius has the slightly darker bones, the skull, the arms and legs. So pretty cool. I like it. I'm really digging this new skeleton quite a bit. And here he is next to Romulus, another one of my favorites. And you can see skeleton, this Legion 2 builder. Uh, he's a he's just a little bit taller than he is, so it's pretty cool. I wonder if that's a scale they're starting to go to, just a little bit larger. I don't know. Really nice though. I mean, you can have them battling, having like a. This almost starts to get you into those scenes of the old classic movies, just seeing them side by side. So I think that's pretty awesome. Just got to get a couple more out there with them. But I mean, I think they look great together. So as I was going through my stuff, just kind of wanting to grab tibias, I grabbed a bag that had a couple of extra pieces, like fodder pieces that I had for mythics. And I'm not going to go too crazy, but just with a simple head swap, um, we have like an undead Templar right there, just like that. Easy. Had this extra helmet laying around, throw it on him with the little shoulder pauldron. I think these were for the foursome pack, the fearsome four. And I mean, look at that. It looks like a dead gladiator come back to life. Really awesome. And that's just mostly with just a head swap, You have him holding his helmet, walking around with that. Then he really looks like a more sentient skeleton. You put this helmet on there. I mean, he's just a dead Templar. Just only has the bucket head. I mean, you got so many options just like that. Like, how cool is that? And that's all with just doing simple head swaps. Now imagine taking this whole body apart and popping on skeleton arms or legs, or half on a body, like they have been defeated in battle and now they're brought back. Pretty cool. So of course, uh, me really liking these, I had to have more than one. And so here's a couple of them. Just a small little scene. You get this one kind of walking all creepy. This one got a spear, just kind of staring at you a little awkwardly. This one's on the ground, kind of pointing. You know, pretty cool. Now imagine you have like a Castle Dio or something like that. Really, really nice. I just think, having more of these is just a lot of fun. I don't think you need a ton of them, but with all the pop and swap abilities that you can do, sure, probably having a couple extras isn't a bad idea. My intention was just to have these as like a small little army that I can use in different scenes, that sort of thing. I don't really have any intention of popping and swapping and leaving them. But I mean, I guess you always could. It's not like it has to stay permanent. You can always switch it back, which makes it more fun. But yeah, this is pretty much my whole plan for them. Stop motions with them or battle scenes with them. Having someone like Romulus surrounded or something like that. So that's going to be it for this review. You guys can already tell I really like this figure. I think it's probably one of the best skeleton figures out there that you could pick up. I don't have the Foosh one, or I'm missing a couple of different ones, but I really like this one a lot. I'm having a blast with it. I see a lot of people online having a blast with it. Just so much fun. The fun factor for these guys is awesome. And then the multi-use, being able to put it with a bunch of different displays, adds more value to it. I picked these up off the in-stock sale, and they are done with it. I actually got a couple of these from IshCon in the 2024 IshCon. If you saw that video I have up, the horsemen were set up there, and anytime you can catch them at a show, they're going to get like the best prices you can. And these guys were limited, but I was able to get a couple there. thankfully I met some really cool people and I got helped out a little bit too. So just really, really awesome. I was able to get an extra helped out with the extra one. So yeah, just really awesome skeletons if you can get a hold of them. If you can't, and I think they are getting a little pricey. They are because they were so limited in the aftermarket. But again, they have the and what is I can't remember his name. It's coming out later with like the Harvester. Might even be called the Harvester, but around that wave. There's he comes with some robes. If you can keep an eye out for that, he'll be the same body but just with the robes on. Um, Different color, slightly darker, but it'd be a good way to save some money. So you don't got to go crazy trying to find these guys if you're really into them and you like what you saw. You know, if you don't like it, that's cool. At least you got to see enough of it to make up your mind. If you do like it and you want to hunt them down, cool. If you can catch the horsemen at a show, even better. Um, but if you don't want to pay those other prices and you do want one, again, a good thing to keep in mind is that another body is coming with the different colors, kind of like Valiant Knight. Valiant Knight goes for a little bit of money, but there's a bunch of new knights coming in the future waves that use these similar, um, the new articulation, so they have good range of motion. Maybe not the exact same colors you want, but some of them vary into some really nice ones. So I don't know, just something to keep in mind. Hopefully, you guys saw enough of the skeleton to decide what you want to do. You already know there's different options out there. So I'll catch y'all in the next one. Later.